Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we get started in this video, I just want to show you some clips that I filmed last week that I wasn't able to upload because I just didn't have service. Even right now, I still don't really have good service. I have basically cell phone service and that's it, and even the cell phone service I have is not very good. So if this gets uploaded, it's going to be uploaded from my phone, but I'm going to show you some clips that I took the morning after Ian, and then also the day we came back to our house. Obviously I'm in my house right now. It's been about 11 days since Ian happened at the time of filming this. But yeah, let me show you those clips and then we will hop right into an update of everything that's going on. Hi guys, it is the morning after Ian has passed through Punta Gorda, which is where I live. My eyes are so puffy. It's been such a long last 24 hours. We don't know a lot. All we know is that Ian literally went through my town and was in my town for about 9 hours, and the eye was in my town for about 4 of those hours. And the thing that's really sad about the whole thing is the news stations stopped covering our area, and they're which in our area is ground zero, that's where it touched down, but they're covering places like Fort Myers and Naples because they have they got a lot of flooding, which is so terrible. But we don't really know what's going on in our area because it's not being covered, and mostly the information we have and are getting is from Facebook, from people who stayed and are posting updates on Facebook. I don't know if we got a storm surge like they were saying. Like literally they don't talk about they're not talking about Punta Gorda, or Port Charlotte. They're not talking about those areas, which is like so weird and annoying because that was like ground zero. But you know, I guess for their show it's more exciting to show the floods. Man, Fort Myers got hammered. So I mean, we're still here, we're in Naples, we're safe, but we're just waiting on more news. We don't really know when is the right time to go check on the house because I know that there's going to be debris in the roads and it's just going to be unsafe to get to the house, but you also can't just wait forever for them to clear everything because it's going to take a long time. And if there's like water in our house, the drywall needs to be like cut out today, or else there will be like mold all through the house by tomorrow because of the heat and the humidity, and there's no AC in the house because the power is off. So I mean, the only notifications I've been getting from the city and the county is that there's now either no water or in some areas, or if you're getting water, you have to boil your water. And obviously there's no power. And last night they said, you know, there's a curfew. I also saw on Facebook that people were posting that they're seeing people looting people's houses already, and they were posting the cars that were looting. So that's a bummer. We have friends that we can't get into contact with because I think there's no cell service where they are. Like the cell service dropped. I have a friend that is east of Fort Myers, and it sounded so terrible what she went through. She had a window blow out, trees fall down, her roof was ripping apart. It just sounds really bad. So obviously this is devastating. I'm sure you guys see on the news, but we don't really know what's going on with our house yet. it's just been hard to sleep and to relax with the uncertainty. But yeah, that's my update. Hey guys, we just pulled up to our house. I haven't gotten out yet. I'm letting my husband walk around, make sure everything's safe. And he's gonna go inside the house, make sure everything's safe before we go in. If you hear background noise, I'm trying to keep my son occupied. It's very sad to see my neighborhood look like this. It's very sad. It looks like a war zone. My beautiful neighborhood that I love. My neighborhood usually looks so cute and quaint. It just looks very sad right now. It's gonna take a long time for us to get back to normal. On the plus side, the weather is beautiful out. It's nice and cool and breezy, which is nice because none of us have power. I'm excited to get back inside and see my house, though. The neighborhood looks crazy. I'm seeing people's backyards I've never seen before because their fences are down. People lost their roof. My neighbor next door, her shed completely flipped upside down, like it's on its roof. It's devastating. It's very devastating here. Alright, so those are those clips. Obviously, you could see that this has been a really emotional situation to be in. I truly, really thought that we would not have a house to come back to. Just everything they were saying on the news about what our area of Punta Gorda was supposed to receive actually after the hurricane was why I thought we wouldn't have a house to go back to. Really, like, no one thought we would have a house to go back to. None of our family, the people who live here around us, it's just the location of where we live. We live really close to the water, and we just really were convinced by what we were being told that we were going to see anywhere from 10 to 20 feet of water in our house. And that didn't happen. I literally feel like crying thinking about that. Like, literally, we really didn't think we were gonna have a house to come back to. Like, that's like the honest truth. It was really crazy. The day we evacuated was the day before the hurricane, before Ian was approaching our area, and my husband came back that night to get one last carload of things that he could fit into the car, because literally we just thought we were going to lose everything. Like, everyone thought we were going to lose everything. So we basically had 2 carloads worth of things. We grabbed things like photos and just like irreplaceable mementos that meant a lot to us. My husband's music gear, which is practically irreplaceable because he uses vintage gear, so it would be really hard to get the same gear again. We grabbed, Hank's stuffed animals that he loves. We had 1 suitcase full of all 3 of our clothes, and yeah, like, seriously, we just thought we were going to come back to nothing. So we were in Naples, in East Naples, so we weren't really affected by flooding there at all. A tortoise.
we've been back at our house for like 9 days or 8 days now, and it's so silly that I'm crying over this. But like, one of the things that we love about our house is we always see Tortoise in our yard, and I hadn't seen one tortoise since we've been back. And there's literally a tortoise.
Can you guys see? There's like sand being spit out in the middle of the screen. That's a tortoise. He's digging out a hole.
I know it's so silly I'm crying over a tortoise, but like, we've been here for over a week and we hadn't seen one tortoise. And we are used to seeing like even 2 or 3 a day at our house, and I hadn't seen any of them, and I just thought that like something happened to them. It's so silly that I'm crying over a tortoise. What's really hard, even though it seems like I shouldn't be crying because I still have a house, like I'm in my house, I have power, I have my family, we're fine. But what's really hard is seeing your neighborhood that you love and that you literally spend every day in torn to pieces. Seeing my neighbors' houses torn to pieces is really hard. And just little things like the tortoise that we would always see every day. We haven't seen him in so long, and we have multiple tortoise dens in our backyard. And we've been checking them, and we haven't seen any tortoise, and I just finally saw one. See there, that right there is hope. It's so stupid that I'm crying over a tortoise. Basically, the day we came back to what I was talking about. The day we came back was really emotional to see our neighborhood the way it is. My next door neighbor, she stayed during the hurricane, and she was by herself with her dog. And when we came back, the day we came back, I saw her, and I ran to her, and she gave me the longest, strongest, most sincere hug ever, and I have never even touched her before. Usually we wave at each other or we talk to each other from a distance. She hugged me so hard, and she told me she thought she was going to die. It just like never stopped. And she said she stayed, and the first part of the eye was fine. She was like, yeah, you know, it's a little bit scary, but like it was fine. And she said then the sky opened up, and so she went outside and let her dog outside to pee, and then they went back inside, and then the second part of the eye came. And she said that was so long, and that's when she thought she was going to die. Water started coming in her house from like the ceiling because her roof flew off, and I look so terrible. I'm sorry. I've been looking like this all week. And she said she went to her laundry room to hide, and she really thought she was going to die. And she said she was praying to God if he's going to take her, to also take the dog too, because her dog is a rescue dog that doesn't like anyone, and the dog is kind of aggressive, I guess, and she just didn't want the dog to be sent to a shelter. I don't know what her thought process was on that, but it's just really sad. Her shed, she has a really big shed that was anchored to the ground and permitted by the city, and it's literally upside down. We have another neighbor who half of their house doesn't even have any roof or ceiling on it. It ripped off completely, and if you're inside their house, you can see the sky. Just down the road from us, also along the river, we live on the river, but this is more west towards the harbor. House is flooded. they flooded, not from a surge, but just from so much rain and the way the houses were built. They're really low. Our house is luckily built kind of up on a mound, and those houses are not. They're really, really old houses. And if you drive past those houses right now, you'll see all of their furniture out on the curb because it got destroyed and ruined. If you go on Facebook, there is people in our town, you know, we have like local Facebook groups, right, that I'm in. People in such terrible situations, and it's just like heart-wrenching. People who are like in wheelchairs, electric wheelchairs, and we haven't had power. We have power now, but I mean, some people still don't have power, but at the time, you know, people had no power and their wheelchair had no battery. Or people on oxygen who need electricity and they can't get oxygen. I saw one mom who was begging for kids ibuprofen, I think, because her daughter's heart has to have ibuprofen every day or else it could stop, and she couldn't find it anywhere. The grocery stores right now are crazy. Really bare shelves. It's starting to get better now that there's more electricity in more areas, so more stores could open up. But for the first week, we had like the whole town going to 3 grocery stores when we used to have, you know, 10 or 15 grocery stores available. And you can imagine how that made the supplies really thin out for everybody. The gas stations, people were waiting in line for like 4 hours to get gas. We also had armed military men at the gas stations because people were getting, I guess, aggressive, getting gas. So we've had armed military men at the gas stations just like watching the gas stations. For us, we decided to not deal with the lines for the gas and everything that's going on in the grocery stores. So we were driving every few days to Naples, which is an hour south, to get supplies, to get gas, to get milk and all that stuff. And that's the other thing is like our insurance company is, I'm pretty sure, not going to, they hadn't put it on paper yet saying they're not gonna reimburse us for food, but they basically told us like that's not gonna happen. So we had to throw away everything in our freezer and our fridge because we hadn't had power in so long. And I mean, you guys know, like, I mean, I'm not like super poor. I know that I'm not extremely poor. There's people that have way less than I do, but I'm also not wealthy. My family and I, like my husband and I, we live on a really tight budget and we try to spend the least amount of money possible every month so that I don't have to go to work and put Hank in daycare. That's not something we're trying to do. And so to live that kind of lifestyle where I can stay home, we just don't spend a lot of money. We don't. I mean, it's just, I would rather not spend a lot of money and be able to be home with my family than spend money on things and go to work and not see my son all day, you know? So that's just how we are. And to do that, we don't spend a lot of money. And this whole process of this hurricane is making us spend all kinds of money that we wouldn't normally be spending. So, you know, my fridge is like really bare right now. I'm not saying this to like make you guys feel bad for me or anything, because you shouldn't. I have a house. I have a house. And that's like the biggest thing, is I have a house. But yeah, I mean, our house, I know you guys are curious about like what's going on with our house. We have damages to our house. It's actually like a literal list long of damages that we have made claims on. We haven't heard back from our insurance people yet on what they're going to help us with, but It's definitely not fun, but I try to just remember that like the damages we have are so minimal compared to a lot of people's damages that they have endured here during the hurricane. Basically, we're missing fascia and soffits off our house. We also received like water wicking in the laundry room, so we had to tear the carpet out of there. We'll have to redo the floors in there. We have our exterior lights. We have multiple lights outside the house. They're broken. We have a crack outside of the house, like a vertical crack outside the house that wasn't there before. We also have like a little bit of water damage on the ceiling in the hallway because the rain was coming in through the ridge vents, which is a vent that allows ventilation in the attic. And the rain was just coming in so powerfully and from so many different directions that it was coming through the ridge vent and then collected on the ceiling, and we need to get drywall replaced on the ceiling now and get the ceiling painted again, which we just got it painted not even 2 months ago, I don't think. I mean, there's a list. I mean, but like I said, it's not like a lot of our neighbors who have much bigger problems than we do. We have contacted many contractors, and the waiting list is so long. And not only that, like if you wanted to fix it yourself, you can't because there's not supplies. Like the soffits and fascia are like a relatively easy project, but like I don't know where we're gonna get the supplies. Home Depot doesn't have it, Lowe's doesn't have it, because everybody needs it. Pretty much everyone needs their soffit and fascia replaced. But overall, Hurricane Ian has really put a lot of stress on everyone's lives here in Southwest Florida. This has probably been one of the hardest weeks of my life, if not the hardest. It's just been a mental, emotional roller coaster, and yeah, it's also just hard to like live in a disaster zone. Like it's very emotional to live in a disaster zone. It's very emotional to drive to the grocery store and see these houses torn to pieces, and then to go to the grocery store and there's not a lot of supplies at the grocery store. And another thing that happened is my husband's work. My husband's a musician, so he plays gigs usually about 4 times a week, sometimes more, it just depends. And 2 of his regular weekly gigs are gone because the hurricane literally took them away. So like one of them, the building is like not even there anymore. It like fell into the water. It's just not there. It's literally just not there. And the other one, it's crazy. It's like not even a pile of rubble. It's just not there. Like it's as if the building was never there. And then there's another one that the building is standing still, but it had 9 feet of water in it. So that's going to be probably a long time before they reopen. So that right there is like half of our income gone every month, you know? So it's hard. It's not easy. This is like a very challenging time, and a lot of people are really nice and concerned about our situation, or even just everyone's situation here in Southwest Florida. But then there's people who are really inconsiderate and rude and say things that are just like so mean and rude about, like I had somebody who actually watches this channel, who's been watching this channel since probably like 2012 or 2013, and she messaged me on Instagram and she asked me if I have regrets moving to Florida now. This was like 3 days after the hurricane. She messaged me on Instagram and asked me, do you have regrets about moving to Florida now? And it's just kind of like rude and weird. And yes, I moved to Florida knowing that Florida receives hurricanes, but I didn't move to Florida thinking that I would be a part of the 4th most strongest hurricane to ever hit the United States ever. Do you know what I mean? I don't think people understand the strength of this hurricane. I didn't even. So normally hurricanes stay in one place for like 2 to 3 hours and then they're gone. Hurricane Ian stayed above my house for 9 hours. So I don't know if you guys understand how, I feel like a lot of you do understand, but I don't think a lot of people understand how impactful this hurricane was. For example, Hurricane Charlie, which is a hurricane that decimated my town, I think almost 20 years ago now. Like literally, like the town had to rebuild from this hurricane, right? That hurricane was only in Punta Gorda for like 3 hours and then it was gone. Hurricane Ian was in Punta Gorda for 9 hours. Just the eye itself was over Punta Gorda for 4 hours. So longer than the entirety of Hurricane Charlie, just the eye. So I don't think people really understand what we're going through. But at the end of the day, I am grateful. I'm so grateful, and I thank God every day that I have a house to bring my son to, and that he has a room and a bed and his toys still, because like literally I didn't think I was gonna have that anymore. And the like emotion that gives, like, literally for like 2 days I literally didn't think I was gonna have a house. It's really weird. It's a really weird, like, emotional roller coaster to go on, to think that your house was gonna just get taken away, you know. This hurricane would have played out any different. The morning of the hurricane and the night before, they were saying that this hurricane, the eye, was going to go to Venice and Sarasota. That's what they were saying. If that would have happened, my house would have been underwater. The reason why my house didn't flood and receive that 10 to 20 foot surge like they were saying it was going to was because the eye went over my house instead. And that's why Fort Myers and Naples flooded. Because, man, I just learned so much about hurricanes this last 2 weeks. Hurricanes move in a counterclockwise cycle, right? They go counterclockwise. If you're on the west coast of Florida, which I am, that means that the top of the hurricane is going to be pulling water away from land, and the bottom of the hurricane is going to be pulling water into the land because it goes counterclockwise, right? So since the eye hit where I live, the water was getting pulled away and then getting pushed south, which is Fort Myers, right? So this is like Venice, this is Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte, and this is Fort Myers and Naples. That's what was happening. The water was getting pulled out and pushed back into Fort Myers and Naples, and that's why they flooded. Now, if the eye would have went to Venice and Sarasota, the water would have been getting pulled out of Tampa Bay, and getting pushed in to the Charlotte Harbor and the Peace River. And I would probably not be sitting in my house right now. I would probably be, I don't even know. The thought of that is like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say in this video, honestly. It's just been very emotional. I don't know how to like convey my gratitude, and I don't know how to convey the amount of stress I've been under, but like mostly my gratitude. I'm so grateful. Like, I didn't think that I would be in this house again, and I am. I got to make lunch at my kitchen. Yeah. If you're in Florida and you're watching this and you were impacted by Hurricane Ian, I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and I'm sorry that you had to be a part of this, but everything will be okay one day. But everything will be okay one day. And you're gonna say, you get to say that you were a survivor of Hurricane Ian. So that's a pretty big deal. And if you survive this, you'll be able to survive a lot of things. I really think that a lot of people are gonna have like PTSD after this. And I also think and know that it's going to take a long time for Southwest Florida to recover from this. Yeah. What a wild ride, right? I'm so gross. I'm so sorry that I'm so gross. But yeah, that's my video. I'll talk to you guys later. And we'll get back to some normal content soon, I'm sure. Yeah, that's the video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Sorry I cried so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.